Hi Taurus, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Taurus, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general reads. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. For your key to the week this week, you've got the High Priestess. Now I think out of all of the cards, the High Priestess was the most active for this week, which means that on the wider world stage, at least, those are your first two cards out, there is going to be a grand reveal in some way, shape or form. So I'm intrigued to see what that means. Now, for you personally, the High Priestess is literally... this is a moment at which something is going to be revealed to you that makes complete sense. It's going to be one of those moments where you kind of say to yourself, you know what, all of this time I didn't know. Now, it doesn't have to be like a, you know, like a deep, dark secret from the past or something that you didn't know. It could literally be, I don't know, maybe you find out you've got a disorder of some sort and you're like, oh my gosh, all of this time I thought that I just had a really crap memory, or I thought that I was, I just thought I was moody, or do you know what I mean? And then you find out that there's a reason behind it. It's like this week you're getting some piece of the puzzle, some piece of the jigsaw is going to make complete sense to you. And when you have this piece of information, it's going to make everything else better. What I also want to say as well, so this just done, the message that the High Priestess is giving me now is for those of you who, it's like you've had an intuition about something and you've just been waiting and waiting and waiting. This is the week where whatever you've been sensing, because the reason I say this is in my body, I get this feeling of tenseness. And it's like, you know, when someone's going like this and they're going to poke you and you're like constantly tense and you're waiting for it, but it doesn't come. I feel like a lot of you Taurians have been in fight, maybe not necessarily fight or flight mode, but you've been braced, ready for something that your intuition is picking up, but you couldn't put into words. This week, it's going to show up. The piece of the puzzle, the thing that you've been intuiting, the thing that you've been waiting for is now going to hit. And I feel like this is going to be a good thing. So I'm really, really excited for a lot of you to see how this shapes up. If you are a continued subby, you know Raffi loves you. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share. And if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button for your actions and options. The first card that's popped out was the Six of Swords, right? So for a lot of you, this could be some form of secret travel. Maybe you are planning a getaway or a holiday with friends or for a loved one that you don't want them to know about. So maybe you're booking a holiday of some kind. That could be really good. The other thing with that Six of Swords, this week is a release point, right? So that moment where you've been super or hyper tense or alert, it comes to an end now. You can take the foot off the brake. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Eight of Swords, right? So you've got this with the High Priestess. For those of you that have had situations going on in the background, this is for all of you Taurians in some way, shape or form. For those of you that have had situations going on in the background that you couldn't talk about, maybe it wasn't your secret to share, maybe you were under oath, maybe you were, maybe you were legally bound, right? Like in some way, shape or form, it looks like a lot of you have been holding on to a secret, not talking about something in your professional or academic life because you weren't at liberty to discuss that. I feel like this week that lid may come off, right? So that restraint or constraint might be removed this week. So for those of you that are studying, that are in the academics, if you are feeling the pressure and the weight of something, this would be a really good week to, one, reach out and ask for some help or some support. And two, because it's the Eight of Swords, for those of you that are thinking about going into academics or already in academics or in some form of study, I'm going to say this to you: whatever you're about to do, it's going to require you to be in it, right? You're going to have to show up. There's not going to be any shortcuts here. Now, Taurus is a very slow, steady sign. You guys always get it done most of the time. But for those of you that are a bit skittish, or you know, you're kind of a little bit undecided, or you're not sure, I'm telling you here and now, whatever you're about to tie yourself to will demand that you see it through. So if you're going to go down this path, make sure it's one that you definitely want to walk. For i.e., you know, if you're being told you have to go to uni by parents, family, etc., you pick a subject that you know you're going to be able to see through, because it looks like you're going to be held to it. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, quite frankly, where your lips have been sealed, where your energy has been bound, where you've had to kind of toe the line for something, this week I kind of get the feeling that I almost like the words that I'm hearing are justice will be served. So this will be a week where you finally get to kind of step back and say, wow, you know what, it was really hard not being able to say anything, but actually I feel like I'm in a good space for it. For those of you that are self-employed, business owners, entrepreneurs, this is the start of a very big journey that is going on behind the scenes. And I kind of feel like this week you're embarking on something pretty big. If you haven't seen it, please check out the weekly general, because the Hierophant card was the card that came out for the key to the week, with, you know, for obvious reasons. But I wonder if this is speaking to some of you guys as well. When it comes to those of you that are retired and no longer working, I will say this. The Eight of Swords can see you looking at a situation a lot more bleakly than it actually is. And with the High Priestess here, this is kind of like a tendency to suffer in silence. And I'll say this to all of you Taurians. If there's something that you're dealing with that's heavy, it's only going to be by reaching out that you solve it this week. I know a lot of you tend to be sort of steady, solitary creatures, but this is not a week to be that. All right. For your love and relations, you've got the Ace of Wands. Love and romance are hot and steamy and sexual and sensual. For those of you that are in partnerships that maybe have been a bit lagging in the boudoir, this is going to be a great week of reconnection with the partner. It's going to be a great week of sensuality. It's also going to be, I mean, for some of you, because you've got the High Priestess there as well, this could be where your partner whispers something into your ear that is slightly inappropriate, that I'm not going to share, you know, that takes you by surprise, and you're like, wow, okay, so you're still into me then. This could be a reigniting of passions this week for those of you that are in long-term relationships, which could be great. For those of you that are single, it could be by fleeting sort of, you know, somebody that just rolls in or rolls through. You might be very, very surprised at how quickly the mood takes you and a certain person that you bump into, maybe reconnect with. For the most part though, I kind of feel like this is like a, you know, someone shows up, there's this really big sort of instant connection that gets very heated very quickly, and you're kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Enjoy it, be present. All right. For your money and materials, you have the Nine of Pentacles. So this is a card of hard work, but it's also a card of beauty, refinement, and gorgeousness. Nine of Pentacles is Venus in Virgo, all right? And yeah, everyone's like, oh, Venus in Virgo is in its fall, it doesn't do well there. I don't feel that that's the truth. Virgo's a very earthy sign, right? And Venus is sensual and loving, and, you know, all of this that I'm doing, that's Venus in Virgo as far as I'm concerned. It's the, you know, and I don't say this to offend anybody, but it's the image that it conjures up. It's the, you know, the gypsy girl in the half that is swaying and, you know, got bells on her feet, and like, it's just sensual. That being said, the hard work and efforts that a lot of you have put in, and a lot of the good karma that you've put out previously, looks like it's about to pay off for you in a monetary or physical sense. This is what I would call the start of your rain of pennies from heaven, all right? So this could be really exciting. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, the Nine of Pentacles is your digestive system. Look after that this week. Eat simply, especially because we've got this full moon in Virgo coming. this would be a good week for you to keep your diet clean and simple. And this is the thing, when you say simple, everyone's like, oh, that just means, boiled vegetables. No, it doesn't. Clean and simple just means light, not so processed, not so heavily spiced and all of that. Like anywhere where the moon is in Virgo, we've got a full moon in Virgo this week, which is going to be highlighting the need for simplicity and refinement for all of us in some way, shape or form, right? When it comes to your home and environment, the Nine of Pentacles, give the place a bloody good clean, right? I do this all the time anyway, but skirting boards, inside the window slats, like come on, we're on the run up to a Virgo full moon, guys. If you're going to clean, you got to be meticulous, right? But this would be a really good time to beautify and enhance the home through those kinds of things. Now, that being said, for those of you that are ascendant Taurians, to a lesser degree, the sun and the moon, but still relevant, the full moon is taking place in your 5th house, the house of love, romance, children, baby making, and the practice of baby making. It's also the full moon in a house of creativity, of sensual pleasures, right? It's the 5th house is a lucky house as well. It's a very lucky house. So this full moon may bring some spontaneous luck. It may see a project that you see as your child or as your baby really start to flourish. Your business, if you've got one, may start to be put under the spotlight, but something that really enhances and lightens your heart and your mood is really going to take place for you as a result of this full moon, and I'm here for it. It can be said, I think it would be fair to say that it's going to be a bit of an intense full moon, but I think it's going to be good nonetheless because it's activating a grand earth trine. So very, very nice. And you've got the gate 24 and returning. I really feel like this is a returning to all of the stuff that makes you happy, quite frankly, and that full moon I think is definitely going to be a good place to start. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.